The little box.
You're in good shape.
So
Yeah.
up
Hold
on
your
the,
position.
Comes and disappeared.
Here we are, apps, maps, right there.
Oh, yeah.
Just rest it right there.
That's all right.
Okay, right there, right there,
Right
yeah, right there. Don't hold your position.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
so I just wanted you, by resting your cursor on it, that you could confirm you were clicking on the link that went to apps:/maps. So what we did in that navigation pane on top is to put links to some places we wanted you to go. So where we're going to be today is in this apps maps page. So it should say in a blue bar now with white font, which is white typeface, working with apps or applications. So some new vocabulary. There are different programs that you can get on a computer or a smartphone or an iPad or a Chromebook, and those are called applications. Sometimes you have to go out to a website to get an application. Many times on a Microsoft device like you have to go to the Microsoft Store. Some apps or applications you have to pay for. Some are free. They'll always tell you in advance if it's free or you have to pay for it. But what Google has is apps built into Chrome, and Chrome is Google's browser. So since you have a Gmail account, I thought it would be good for you to learn about some of the apps that are available to you because you have a Gmail account, a Google account, and you know about the Chrome browser. So now we're going to just look at this page, and you know how to scroll now with that scroll wheel on your mouse. And I want you to scroll down until you can see this main picture about Google Apps in the middle of your page or in the middle of your screen. Okay.
They're there.
So what it talks about are Google Apps. And so I took a screenshot for you there. So some of the apps that Google has is their Google search, and it's got that rainbow G. YouTube is now part of Google. Google Play is where you can go and get other apps for the Chrome browser. Maps is one of the apps. You already know about Mail, Gmail. Drive is where you can hold a lot of files, and maybe we'll get to that one day soon. And then along towards the bottom is Calendar, because Google has a great calendar where you can keep track of appointments and things. Groups is like where you would keep contact information for a doctor or family members or people that you meet at the senior center. And then you can have individual contacts. Sites are websites. In fact, our Granny's World site is a Google website. Katura built it in a Google site. So these are just examples of different apps. Keep is an app, and Meet is what we're going to talk about on Thursday. But today we're going to talk about maps. So it says on this page that when you're using the Chrome browser and you add a tab, in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see an icon, which you know now is a symbol that looks like 9 dots, 3 dots by 3 dots. So on the screenshot here, it's circled in gray. Okay, that sometimes is called a waffle because it reminds you of what a waffle looks like that you might have for breakfast. So what it really does when you select that, it opens up these apps. So what we're going to do now is you're going to look at the top of your screen and you're on a page. If you look up on my screen, I'm way, way up at the top, the very top of the monitor. I'm on a tab. It looks like a tab, like a file folder tab, and it says Granny's World Apps : Maps. Well, I want to add a new app. So I'm going to go next door to it. And I have to get this out of the way just because of how my machine is working. And there's a little plus sign, and it says when you rest your cursor on it, new tab. So I want you to click on that plus and get a new tab, and it will open up a Google search page. So everybody should be there, right smack dab in the middle of your screen. It should say Google. Because we're in Google Chrome and we're adding a new tab, which allows us to get to a new page. Cool. Okay. So what the message on the website says was up in the top right-hand corner, you should see that icon that's 3 dots by 3 dots and looks like a waffle. So go up there and click on that 3 by 3 or click, single left click on the waffle. And now it opens up those apps that were a screenshot on the other page. And now I want you to select Maps. So it's supposed to look like a little pin that, you know, a pin that you might put on a piece of paper to attach it to a bulletin board or something, a push pin. So click on Maps. And what's really cool is now it.
Hang on, Mary Beth, let me get, I gotta get Minnie there.
Okay,
And George.
no worries.
Here's your maps. There's the waffle, and there's maps. Okay, George, you're in email already. Okay, let's click out of these. Hang on,
Oh, yeah.
because I don't want you to be confused.
Okay. But I did it wrong.
So, you know, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, just like with anything. If you're learning how to play baseball, or you're learning how to knit, or you're learning how to, I don't know, train a dog. Everything does not come easily at the beginning. It's practice makes perfect. So if you got it, great. If you didn't, you'll get it. The more practice you do, the easier it'll be. Okay, everybody's on Maps?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, now up in the top left corner of where your maps are, this is where we're going to do a search for the Oceanside. Is it called the Senior Center?
Yes, senior
Okay.
services.
Say it again.
City of Oceanside, Parks and Recreation, Senior Services.
Okay, so we're going to go, I want you to, up where it says in the top left corner, search Google Maps. I want you to type, let's just do Oceanside, California. So do type Oceanside, comma, capital CA. We'll start there.
At the top where it says Google Maps, it says at the top.
Yes.
Up in the top left corner,
Google.
Right here.
No, you gotta
there, I
click-
was-
Don't click
Well, she
that.
said
Just
search
touch the
Google
cursor.
Maps. It doesn't say search. You gotta think that word.
So.
Hang on, now it's
Okay,
on
so where am I?
Oceanside.
We're typing
Type in
Oceanside.
Oceanside, comma, CA.
Oceanside.
Is that a top? Is that a main top or capital?
No, just put it Oceanside.
Okay, Homer, where am I typing this?
No.
That's Google
Okay,
Maps up there.
so
Am I
now you
typing
have-
this over here?
No, you're going to, you got
So-
Google Map? See where that?
Oh, that Google
That right
Maps,
there.
I'm up here.
Yeah, go
We
there.
have here, Oceanside.
How you doing,
Yeah,
George?
there you go.
What you see?
Oceanside. what you said.
Comma C8.
So,
Oceanside, comma
do I
C8.
have
Go
to
up here.
click this?
Yeah, click in here.
Click the. where it
Type
says
in
Google
Oceanside.
Maps?
Yes, now, start print.
Well, where?
Oceanside.
You're gonna put your,
Type it.
you're
It
gonna
says
pick-
COVID.
no, you're gonna do this. You see there? See how you start? Now,
Oh,
tap that right there.
what?
Bang.
Oceanside.
There you go.
Background.
There you are.
And if you don't want the background
Now,
out,
there
just
you
click
are.
that.
So you're in.
Close it.
Yeah, I'm
See
kind of,
that?
now I got it.
Okay, here's what you're gonna,
Your phone's ringing, Papa. It's over.
you're gonna click on that now.
Are we ready?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay,
Yeah.
So you're there.
okay, here we go. So
Ocean,
after you typed Oceanside,
You don't have to do any more?
watch.
CA.
Watch this, man. Bingo, you're in.
okay, after you typed Oceanside, comma, CA for California, now that little magnifying glass to the right of it is the always the icon for search. So click on that icon, looks like a magnifying glass, and watch what it does.
There it is.
Did you get everything else away?
Magnifying.
You can open it back up.
Right here.
You're right there. You're the
Isn't that
same
cool?
thing.
Type
Yeah,
here.
everybody's at Oceanside.
All right, now let's learn how to navigate. So watch on my screen. Don't do it right now. Watch on my screen. When you're in a map, like we are at Oceanside, don't click on it now, just watch me. In the lower right corner, there's a little plus sign and a minus. The plus sign means zoom in. The minus sign means zoom out. So don't click on it yet. Watch on my screen. I'm going to click on the minus and I'm making sure it says zoom, and I click again and I click, and can you see I'm zooming out, so I'm seeing more of California. If I click on the plus, I'm a left click, single click, 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 click. Do you see how I'm zooming into Oceanside, and now I can start to see the roads? That's what I would like you to do now. I would like you to click the minus sign 2 or 3 times, you know, click, 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 and zoom out. And then click on the plus sign and click, 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 and zoom in.
You have it?
I can't even find the arrow.
Okay, hold on.
It's not an arrow. It's a little plus sign and a little minus sign in the lower right corner.
You lost it.
I lost my arrow.
You lost your.
It's
Oh, you mean you lost where the cursor is? Just
Yes.
jiggle it. Jiggle it.
Yeah.
If you jiggle the mouse, you'll be able to see the cursor on your screen.
Okay, it's out in the ocean.
So did we zoom back in or are we still out?
Okay, so.
Just- It doesn't matter right now exactly. I would rather have you zoomed in so that you can see some of the streets and highways like I am.
Up here, Oceanside,
And
California.
You have it, Heidi?
Sit there, the three lines. Type in Oceanside.
The zoom, the zoom is, oh, you trying to find the senior center?
And that's
Oh,
right
don't worry, please.
Don't worry
Please.
right now.
You doing all of those tricks with that thing.
Don't
Just
worry
hold on.
about,
We gotta go to Oceanside.
Don't worry about that, Heidi.
We gotta-
don't worry about the senior center now. Don't. Okay,
This is what-
everyone know how to zoom.
Yeah,
Does everybody have the Zoom
Then
technique
you go
down
down
pat?
here
Hey,
to
Steve,
the plus and the
can you
minus.
zoom, Steve?
Plus will go up. minus will
That's
go
where you are now.
Okay, you got the zoom down?
up. Yes, sir.
Well, I don't
Okay,
have
you,
that.
Okay.
George?
Further
No, he
south
doesn't,
to
not
get
yet.
Zoom in and out, right?
You just move it, that's
Plus
all.
and minus. Plus is zoom in, minus zoom out.
I'm-
Okay. Ready? Now here's something else that's cool. Look on my screen.
Watch this.
Don't be doing anything now. Watch on my screen. I'm jiggling. I'm just jiggling my mouse. I'm not clicking on anything. And I've got my mouse in the middle of the screen. And now I'm gonna hold down the left click. Just watch. I'm gonna hold down left click, keep holding it down, and now I'm gonna move my mouse. I'm just scooching my mouse on the tabletop, and you can see how it moves the mouse. That's
Right.
called click and drag. So I want you to put your cursor now, that's the little arrow, and it's called a cursor, someplace in the middle of your screen. Hold down the left click, just hold it down. And now
Yeah.
just move your mouse a little to the left and right and up and down. So you're clicking and dragging, and when you look at your cursor now, it looks like a plus sign with 4 arrows. It means you're moving something, you're clicking and dragging. Isn't that cool?
Now you see the turn before, now you can move it.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Everybody move.
Press it down.
Yes, sir.
And then move it around.
Don't worry about that. We're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it, Heidi.
I know how to move this.
Yeah, okay, we're just gonna take it one step at a time. Heidi wants to identify the senior citizen center where we are.
It's right
Right,
here.
we'll get there, Heidi, but you know, if all we learn is how to get to the senior center, then you'll never learn how to be able to use maps to find other very interesting places in the world besides Oceanside. So we're just going to learn a little navigation, the ability to move around, and then we'll get to the senior center, okay? So now you know how to zoom in and zoom out. In fact, practice that again. Zoom out, use the minus sign, click, click. Zoom back in. Click and drag, move the map around a little bit. Very interesting. Okay, everybody can do that? Okay. Now, we're going to search for someplace else. So I want you guys to come to Houston, Texas. So up in the search window, which is in the top left corner, next to those 3 little lines, you're going to put your cursor next to Oceanside, California, and you're going to, after the A in California, and you're going to use the backspace key on your keyboard and backspace all those letters out so it's empty. So you put your cursor at the end of those words and then push the backspace key on your keyboard until the search window is empty.
Okay, repeat that once again, Mary Beth.
I don't know, you lost me.
Hold on, they're not gonna lose anyway. Hold on.
Okay. So I want to do another search, but up in the top left-hand corner on the maps page, I'm on the maps page. I'm not up there in the where I type in a website. I'm not on the tabs at the top. I'm in the maps where it said I had typed Oceanside, California. But I want to get rid of the words Oceanside, California. So my cursor, when I put my cursor up there, I'm going to click after the A. So now I'm going to have this blinking line after the A for California. And then I'm going to press the backspace key on my keyboard to keep backspacing out all those letters.
Hold on, she's gotta-
They're already there.
And now backspace.
You gotta go
All the way, backspace all the way.
So you're clearing that bar, is that correct?
Correct. Clear it out so that search is empty.
You're good, you're good, you're good, you're good, Minnie, you're
We
good.
can do it with this thing.
You're good.
Okay, so.
Go ahead.
I'm all right. I don't know about him.
He's okay?
We're going to Houston.
Yeah, he's fine.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Here, then put your cursor there in backspace,
Houston. yes.
behind the A in
We're not
California.
typing anything in there yet.
She hasn't asked you to do anything yet.
We got rid of Oceanside.
Right. Now put the cursor, now you're okay. Okay, now just hold your position. Hold your position. Hold your- Okay, I think we're good, Mary Beth.
Okay, now up in the search window, we're going to type Houston, comma, TX for Texas. Houston, comma, TX.
Okay? You happy?
And then do you remember where that little icon is for search? It's the little magnifying glass. So you're going to click on that and magically, here you are.
Okay. Now, is it this
Yeah.
magnifying glass
No,
or
no,
this one?
This,
Okay.
where you're doing it, where you're doing the search.
Okay.
Bingo.
Houston.
Now I'm in Houston.
Very Houston is.
Okay, Minnie, we
No.
gotta get to Houston, Texas.
Okay. Now, I want you to zoom in again and zoom out and look at Houston where it is in the Gulf of Mexico. So I'm going to click the minus sign in the lower right-hand corner and zoom out and see how close Houston is to the body of water. Because I know Oceanside is right up against the Pacific Ocean, but if you look at Houston, it's not right on the Gulf. It's in a little.
Inland.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, but it's got,
like Vista.
yeah.
And now click the plus to zoom in again.
Watch this.
Okay.
Yes, yes, they had it right here.
She wants you to zoom in to the plus sign, to the plus key,
Says
the
California.
little plus sign in the lower right-hand corner, zoom in.
Yeah, let's see
No,
Maryland.
the plus sign.
Let's see Maryland.
Got it,
Texas.
George? There you go, there you
The
go.
plus sign is in the lower right. Okay, now I want you to remember how to click and drag so you can drag the map around a little. So I'm gonna jiggle my cursor so I know where it is, and then I'm gonna click a left click, hold it down and move my mouse a little so that I can drag the map.
Hold on, wait just a minute, Mary Beth.
We need a cord.
I got it.
So it's a left click, hold and drag.
Just keep moving down. So you can find any place.
Yeah. All you sound.
think it's on that tab.
And now, if you look a little north of Houston, follow Highway 45 north, you'll see a city called Spring.
Where she is. You're in Texas.
Highway 45, you can see the highway marker,
And you can see she wants you on Highway 35.
45,
Sorry.
45. Did you find Spring?
And she wants you up in Sweet, keep, hold down the right, left button and drag up. There you go. In Spring,
Yep, want you to look at Spring.
Did you go there?
hey, we're going over to Mary Beth's house, folks.
Margaritas for all.
Whoa, and I'll bring the jalapenos in the mint.
Well, after all, you'll be in Texas.
Well.
Did you find Spring?
Yes.
Okay, now we're gonna learn a new thing. Now look on my screen. Okay, way down on my, look at my screen, don't look at yours.
Look at her
In
screen.
the lower left, not where all the words are and the pictures, but in the map place down in the lower left, there's a little box that says layers. Don't do anything to it yet. Watch on my screen. It says layers. I'm gonna left click on it.
Just look.
And when I rest my cursor on that, I'm just resting my cursor on it, it says satellite. And I'm gonna click on satellite. And now what it does is it shows if you were out in space and you looked down on Houston, you could see all the greenery and then you would see the city. It, of course, in space, it's not going to show the street numbers, but it would show the streets, you know, if you were in an airplane and the air was clear. So I'm in a satellite view now, and I can now zoom in and I can see even subdivisions. And look here, this is the George Bush International Airport. Sometimes it's fun when you're in maps to be able to look at the satellite view. Okay? So what I'd like you to do now is go back to Oceanside. See if you remember how to get back to Oceanside, California. And then I want you to put on the satellite view. Who can tell me the first step that you're going to do to get back to Oceanside?
Delete Texas.
Absolutely. You have to go up to the search window, put your cursor at the end of Houston, Texas, backspace it out, then type in Oceanside, California. Sometimes it'll even pop up with an idea for you, and then you can click on it. And you'll be in maps. And then in the lower left corner on that little box where it says layers, rest your cursor. And when you see the word satellite, click on it.
We hold the button down.
You don't have to hold it, you just click on satellite.
Okay. got it.
Now, use your zoom in button to look closer into Oceanside, and you can start to see the hills north of you. Isn't that cool? You can click and drag, and it even shows, if you go out into the Pacific Ocean, it will even show you the contours of the ocean floor. So use your zoom in, zoom out, click and drag around Oceanside.
So all that's like the bottom of the ocean?
Isn't that interesting? The mapping, the technology for mapping is so good now. They've mapped the ocean floor. So you can see where, you know, the ridges are, where the trenches are, how far that first layer of the ocean sand goes out before it gets really, really deep.
You see it, Minnie?
I don't know.
But click and drag and go over the land too, so you can see, you know, how your area was settled in some of the flatter parts of California along the coast, where when you go a little east and for a little north, you can see how the terrain gets hillier, not mountainous yet, but hillier. And then use your zoom in and zoom out. To just look around your area. And if you ever don't want to be looking at the satellite view anymore, you just go back to layers and you can click on where it says map. Sometimes when people are traveling, they like to look at what the traffic looks like. And so when you go down into that left corner where it says layers, instead of clicking map or satellite, you could click on traffic. And then you start to see green means the traffic is going pretty well, close to the speed limit. Where you see red and orange, there are some traffic slowdowns.
Get back to Oceanside.
You get back to Oceanside by going up to the search bar. If it still says Oceanside, California, just click on that little, the search icon, which is the magnifying glass.
All you would do is just click that magnifying glass.
I went to layers and I went to traffic.
Go to layers.
Stupid house.
Yeah.
Okay, click traffic. Click traffic. Just click it.
Once, twice.
Click traffic just once. Just once. Okay. Okay, now you're going to right, left, hold down the left mouse button and drag.
Okay, I want to go.
So now we're going to go back and we need to go to Oceanside. So now it's going to have the Oceanside. So now as Mary had explained, here, hang on.
Okay, that's what she.
Right, you see the red lines, that's traffic. The green lines is where it's flowing. Orange line will be a little bit lighter than heavy traffic. Dark red will be very heavy.
And the other red is like between
See,
almost every.
right, because you can see green, here's the legend, fast. The orange, the lighter gold is a little bit slower. Then you have this color red, and then you have the burgundy, which is the deep, deep red. That's slow traffic. So we have.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
What color is it?
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what you can see with Google Maps.
Those are,
Okay. Back to the lower left corner where we have layers. I want you to go take off traffic. So if you have traffic on, that little traffic icon has a blue ridge around it, a blue frame. I'm gonna click on it, and that takes the traffic view off. And then I'm gonna go back over and I wanna be on map.
I didn't get the blue.
You're gonna, she wants you to hover back over to the layers,
Uh-huh.
the layers.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and where did you want them, Mary Beth?
In the lower left corner where it says layers, I want them to take off traffic, which means you just have to click on it again. And then where it might have said map, because you were on satellite, click on it, and now it will go back and it will say satellite or layers.
Now you're at the regular view.
Streets, how much traffic on the streets right now?
I went
And then you
where
can
she said traffic.
decide if you want to go that way.
Layers.
Layers.
And then you can click on it again and get to the satellite view too.
Click on
That
it.
says map now. Layers. turns into
Okay,
map.
now let's click
So you
it.
want to go to there.
And then you're back.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And then if you. go to
Okay.
traffic,
We're still gonna journey a little more. So now we're going up to the search window and I want you to take out Oceanside, California. So you remember how to do it, put your cursor at the end of it and backspace it all out.
You did the layers.
This?
Click the layer.
Okay, now we're gonna leave the United States of America. And we're going to Paris, France.
The-
Okay, so I'm gonna search for Paris, France. Because why not? It's Tuesday afternoon. We should all be in Paris.
I agree, Mary Beth.
See,
I agree.
probably no margaritas, but that's okay.
Yes.
Do we type in the whole
Click-
word?
No, there it is. It'll pop up and you can just select it in the menu.
Okay.
Okay, now you're at Paris, France.
Not Paris, Las Vegas, huh?
No.
And not Paris, Texas either.
Or Paris, California.
Paris, France. Okay,
We're there.
isn't it exciting?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So now zoom out a little with the minus sign.
It's Paris, France.
Disappear.
What about you, Big Daddy?
I'm in Paris.
But you're at a completely different site here.
Yeah, well, I took it down there.
No,
I cheated.
no, brother.
And then I want you to zoom in so that you can see the signs that say Eiffel Tower, Arc de Triomphe.
Paris, comma, FR.
And then really zoom in on Paris, the white place within that yellow circle. So Paris is like a lot of cities that has the freeways circling around the outside of it. And because it's such an old city, it doesn't have any freeways going through the middle of it. Because it was already built by the time freeways came about.
Now you can see it.
Okay, now we're gonna go close to the Eiffel Tower. So I want you to see where the Eiffel Tower is. And now I want you to click on the plus to zoom in and then click and drag to make sure the Eiffel Tower is somewhat in the middle of the view.
2004. Oh, you were there then?
Right after 911.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the 16
Zoom in on this,
on the minor.
on the plus. Plus is zoom in.
The plus takes you in, it zooms in.
Once you see it, once you see it,
You gotta stay within here. You gotta make your-
I don't think I keep hold on to this or let go
you
of
want to
this.
see your country?
I don't know.
You keep-
Okay.
you don't-
Now I want you to look at my screen because we're gonna learn one more thing. Ready? So watch my screen. You've got the skills, you'll be able to do this in a minute, and this is awesomely cool. Down, don't click on anything, just watch my screen. Down in the lower right corner, where the zoom buttons are, the plus and the minus. Below the minus is a little tiny yellow guy. He's called Pegman, Pegman. When I take Pegman, I'm going to drop him near the Eiffel Tower. Because when you take Pegman to different places on a map, it's awesome what will happen. So watch on my screen. Don't look at yours. I'm going down to the right-hand corner and I see little Pegman. I'm gonna left click on him, hold him, drag him, and do you see how all the streets become blue? And for a minute, it moved I'm still holding on to him. It moved my Eiffel Tower. I'm not going to worry about that, but I'm going to come up here towards the top of the screen. And now I'm going to let go of the left click. Just watch.
Watch,
And it takes me to what's called Street View. Now watch. My cursor is in the middle of the screen. I'm gonna left click, hold and drag. I'm gonna move my cursor again. I'm gonna left click, hold and drag. And now I'm on a street in Paris, France, exactly how it looks to people who, if they were in Paris right now. To get out of Pegman view, I'm going to go up to the left corner and there's an arrow pointing to the left, and that will take me back here to my map view. So what I want you to do, I didn't know it was going to work that way, is pull the Eiffel Tower, pull the map down a little so the Eiffel Tower is a little lower in your screen. And when you take Pegman, you're going to left click, hold and drag. I want you to drop him as close to the Eiffel Tower as you can. Okay, so now you can do it with your mouse. Down to the corner, get Pegman, left click, hold and drag, and then drop him close as you can to the Eiffel Tower.
There.
You take him up to the Eiffel Tower. Just click on and drag him up there. Click on and just pull him over with your left click. Then just pull it over.
Why do we all have
And when he's
different?
over there, you can.
Well, everybody drop in and in a different street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
And then I'm gonna move my map around and see if I can see it.
Go to that Eiffel Tower.
Well,
See what?
Aha,
I'm lost after
Yeah. And then you can zoom in, you can get the neighborhood, everything.
I thought this was like.
I'm lost after the tower.
well, if you lost it in your street view is when it looks like you're in a photograph. All you have to do is left click on the map, click and drag it and turn it, because maybe the Eiffel Tower is behind you. Maybe it's on the left, maybe it's on the right, maybe you're not even close to it, and then don't worry.
That's why oh, there it is. I was looking.
Well, how do we go from our street view back to the map?
Up in the top left corner, it's gonna say where you are, and there's gonna be a little arrow to the left. And then it takes you back to the map.
That's the Eiffel Tower.
No, that's just, we put Pegman on the street, and that's the street view that he has.
Oh,
Yeah, everybody's is different because, you know, everybody.
You dropped Pegman someplace that somebody else didn't. No big deal.
George has a
you
great
see, you
photo
see
of
it in
Eiffel
part of
Tower.
Paris.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Okay, stay in Paris, go back to map view.
Bring him up to the Eiffel
Is
Tower.
that the little arrow?
Top left corner, it's gonna be in a black square.
Okay.
And it's gonna just be a little arrow to the left.
Uh-huh.
This guy.
And you click that.
You go-
Yep, it says street view, and then above and to the left, there's a little arrow to the left. It takes you back to the map.
Okay, I'm back on the map.
Good. Okay, ready? If you go to the right of the Eiffel Tower a little ways, you can see Notre Dame Cathedral. And I'm going to zoom in a little so I can see Notre Dame Cathedral. It'll say Cathedral Notre Dame de Paris.
And that's close to the Eiffel Tower?
It's to the way to the right. Keep looking to the right, and it's on an island in the Seine River.
I see Disney. Disney.
Okay, then take Pegman, grab him and drop him close to Notre Dame Cathedral.
I haven't been down to Notre Cathedral
Or
yet.
to the right.
Well, it's east of the Eiffel Tower.
And I'm heading east and I'm in Luxembourg.
Okay, but what you want to be looking for is the river, the Seine River.
And river.
And maybe you need to zoom out.
Oh my God.
McDonald's.
That's
I thought it would be fun to visit some other places today because Google Maps will take you so many different places. And if you've always wanted to visit someplace, and like me, I'm sitting in Spring, Texas, and you're sitting in Oceanside, California, but you say, hey, it's a cool afternoon, let's go to Paris. You can do it in Google Maps. You could go to New York, you can go to Venezuela, you can go to Australia. There, you can go anywhere in the world in Google Maps.
How far east I have to go by the river?
Okay. Because we're getting close to our time is up, I want everybody back to the map view, and we're in Paris. And now I want you to go back to the search window and take out Paris, France, and type in, let's see what we get, from Oceanside Senior Center. Let's see what we get. Oceanside Senior Center.
Oceanside Senior Center.
And when you
Take out-
start typing it, some options will come up and you'll be able to pick the one. Is it on Rockaway Avenue?
Ocean.
No, no.
Now I got my thing going.
So if you do Oceanside Senior Center on Rockaway Avenue, it's in New York. So make sure you go to Oceanside Senior Center, California.
There's two of them, but
Well, we're at the Country Club Lane one. I'm in Google Maps.
You go
and then
you
we
go
take-
there, go to the X.
That's where you are. You're at the Country Club Drive.
It's on Country Club Drive.
Yeah,
Yes.
the senior center.
Okay, so I'm gonna try Oceanside Senior Center. Oh, I'm gonna choose Oceanside Senior Citizen Center, Country Club Lane.
That's the one we're at.
Good, cool. Oh, and now I want to see where all of you are. So I'm going to take Pegman, left click, hold and drag Pegman onto one of the streets close to your senior sit. Oh, there it is. So now I can be there virtually with you.
So when I.
you're in the parking lot.
Yes, I am.
I'm looking for my car.
Well, you're not going to see your car because this picture was taken in October of 2018. And I know that because it's way down at the bottom of the screen where it says image capture October 2018. But still, it's pretty good for me.
What happened? I got mixed up.
Oh, no, you were just at the.
And now I want to look around the parking lot. Oh, I see that there is a little overpass near this road. That's interesting. And there's a white building close to you guys. Love it. Do you see how interesting it is to be able to go to different places in the world?
Oh, yeah, you found it. You're good.
It's better, but not good. Get paid. That's Rockland, where we're at.
This is where we are right now. Ah.
And you can even search for addresses. So if you ever want to find like a house you used to live in,